This is how the voice to text works on the new Google software. It's absolutely amazing. But there's one thing that confuses me. How does it know where to put question marks? I really don't understand that, because I don't even know how to do that much grammar in my own day-to-day writing. I'm not very smart. Thank you. Actually, shout out to Gideon. Gideon, you freak. Gideon, this review is going to be two things: shit and honest. Okay, ladies and blokes, fellas and Sheilas. Today we are doing the Aussie review of the Google Pixel 6 Pro. Now, the Google Pixel 6 Pro has been reviewed by a lot of tech reviewers, and they're all like, "Oh, Google, you sent me this for free. It's the best Pixel ever. Thank you, Google." Well, lucky for me, I paid for it with my own hard-earned money, so you're going to get a real review from me, not just some little brown-nosing episode because I want another free product from Google. This is the Pixel 6 Pro. First thing I want to say is I ordered this. Yep, you just get the phone and a cable, that's it. Nothing else in the box. Really disappointing there. I guess, if you're Google or Apple or Samsung, you don't really care about the end user, so you don't really give them anything fun in the box. Now, for me, I'm coming over from the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, and it has been a very easy transition. It's actually been an enjoyable transition. When I look at this software and I go, boom, boom. So it's Android, removing Samsung bloat, and I'm left with a nice clean version of Android 12, which is really enjoyable. I love having one calendar app, one calculator, one contacts app, one messaging app. All that is just trimmed down to pure Android, which I love. And there's some nice new flavors in there as well, so you can customize it. Sort of reminds me a little bit about the days of custom ROMs on your phone, how you could theme it. I mean, it's not quite there yet because there's not much theming going on here, but there's enough to say that this is something that Android or Google want to continue to play with. I watch all these reviews and everyone's talking about how amazing it is to have a phone translate from Japanese to English really quickly. And yes, that's amazing, but I have never picked up my phone and wished that it could do that. Maybe I have once on a holiday, but it's not like the reason I would get a phone. It's amazing that it can do it. And something that is amazing, which I have to use more of, I've got to train myself to do more of it, and that is using the phone like text to speech. Sending text messages, writing emails, it is flawless. Like I can really just talk fluently in my Aussie accent, and it writes everything out the way I wanted it written. So that is great, and I have to learn to use it more. And another software feature which I really dig, but isn't really me, is that camera software where you can remove people or objects from the scene. I have only used it once, but I did the other night. I took a nice photo, I'll put it up here. It's a nice photo of the city surrounded, the city's framed by trees, and there was two people walking past and a third person off in the distance, and it just automatically knew that I wanted to remove those people. And when it did, the computational photography removed those people and then filled in the background perfectly. You cannot tell if you look at the before and after that those people were there. Now, another thing that I do think is important that we don't actually see, and that is this Titan M security chip. I don't exactly know what it means. I just know that they're constantly working in the background to make our devices more secure, less hackable, less vulnerable. And I really do appreciate that. As someone who has all my information in my phone, I definitely feel more secure. I don't know how much more secure it is, but I'm happy it's there. Oh my God, I've got to stop talking about the software. Everything else is really smooth. Scrolling, 120 Hertz refresh rate, multitasking, gaming, everything is easy to do, it's smooth and really enjoyable. It's a very pleasant experience. There are some differences between Android 11 and Android 12, which you will get used to, and they're not worth bitching about. It's just a really pleasant experience. The software is melted butter. Alright, if I think of anything else about the software, I'll come back to you. Now we're going to talk about the build and design. Everyone was talking this up. Really talking it up. Robocop visor, nice glass front and back, looks amazing, blah, blah, blah. And it does, but there's a couple of issues that I have. And this makes it feel really cheap. And I'm gonna show you right now. Look at this. See that? You see the top of it? It looks like a friggin' medi strip. Now, if I just looked, I was cautious. I thought, what is this weird white medi strip doing across the top of my phone? And I was about to start trying to peel it off, and something said, stop, don't. It's meant to be there. It doesn't look like it's meant to be there. It looks like a plastic strip. It looks like shit. It shouldn't be there. You can even like pick at it. Like, listen. That's the lip on the medi strip. That's the lip on that medi strip. It is so shit to have it there. It shouldn't be there. It's in the way. It's cheap. Cheap, 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 cheap. Then the other part that feels cheap, across the camera visor. Oh my God, Google, you cheap asses. Like here and here. I'll do close-ups for you. So on each side of that camera visor, there's a little lip where the plastic meets the lens glass or the lens cover. So cheap feeling, so plasticky feeling, really terrible, really disappointing to spend this money on this phone and have those really cheap plasticky feeling lips that catch on things and you can see them. To me, it's shit. Google has gone cheap here, but the rest of it is really good. Like the camera's really nice to have it even across the top. It's really nice to hold. Out of the case, it feels like it's a good size. Like I really dig that size. I really do like it. Yes, it's fresh. Speaker at the top, speakers at the bottom, USB Type-C, no headphone jack, just got to get over that. Now something that I did do to make my world better, to make all this hardware come together nicely, was I also went and got a Chromebook. I had to update my Chromebook and I got the Pixel Buds because I want that Pixel experience. And I do see Apple users having that with Apple, like their tablets, their laptops, their phones, their headphones, their watches, everything syncs perfectly together. We don't really get that as much with Android, definitely a little bit with Samsung, but now we can start to do it with Pixel as well, or Google, and I'm just hoping that they release a better watch because the Galaxy Watch 4 does not sync well with Google Fit. That's shit. Anyway, back to the build and design. I like the display, like I said, 120 Hertz. I like the curves on it. I like the curved edges. Some people don't. For me, it's a really nicely well-designed phone in terms of how it feels in the hand. Camera, 50 megapixels. That means more detail and the sensor is bigger than the previous Pixels, which means more light, which means better low light photos, which means more bokeh. And it is f1.8 as well, which means more bokeh. So we should, in theory, be getting some pretty good pictures here. Then we have the 12 megapixel wide angle, which comes in a 2.2 aperture, f2.2. I'm gonna go to the telephoto first. Some people like it. I don't. I still don't think telephoto photography in smartphones is where it needs to be. Whenever I take a photo with the telephoto lens on any phone, I'm disappointed. So until they improve that, maybe the Pixel 6 is all you need. For the standard lens and the wide angle, I'm pretty impressed. We do also have 4K 60 and 4K 30, and then we have slow motion. So how do the tech reviewers normally say? In good lighting, it produces amazing photos. And the same can be said about the Pixel phone. In good lighting, great photos, and it's, you know, competing with, you say, your iPhone and your Samsung when it comes to photography. Now, I did take some night photography photos. The shutter slows right down automatically for night mode, and I didn't like that. I like being able to choose when it goes into night mode, but it would just automatically do it, and then I was left with these long exposure shots with blurry people and subjects and stuff like that. So that was frustrating. It just took fairly good photos at nighttime. In daytime or in sort of medium to low light, it does take really good photos for a phone. I think you'd be pleasantly surprised with it. For me, the detail was there, the saturation was there, but I also noticed that in the day-to-day settings, saturation was not overdone. And I'm not sure if this is part of the same sort of computational photography about getting the colors right, because I noticed that it did not oversaturate and I was really happy with those results. Now it's like, hey, all these photos look realistic and we can change it if we want to in post. And the slow shutter tool as well, where you can take a photo of someone and it blurs out the moving background. So they're fun to play with, although limiting and also computational. So not the real results of what you might get from just traditional photography. Now, one of the areas where I'm disappointed is the video. You don't get a lot of options here. You get 4K 30 and 4K 60, and then you get 1080p 30, 60, 120 as well, I believe. They're your options. I would like to have 25 frames per second, 50, 100, but also just that 4K 60, it's pretty stock standard. It's good and does have stabilization in it as well, which is good, but it doesn't have a lot of other tools. It's hard to use in manual mode. It really is a point and shoot camera or video camera. You'll probably have some opinions of your own, but for me, it's not the best video camera for a smartphone. There is definitely better out there, like the Galaxy S21 Ultra, like the iPhone. So Google's really selling these phones on something else at the moment. And I think that's the price, the software, and their new hardware, the Tensor chip, which I think is all good. But you've got to remember, this is 2/3 the price of a Galaxy S21 Ultra or an iPhone 13 Pro Max or whatever the fuck they're called these days. I think I talked about performance. I'm pretty happy with the performance. Gaming, fine. Day-to-day scrolling, day-to-day tasks, fine. Day-to-day consumption, easy. And it's really nice to look at. On this display, it's really nice to use. Very smooth, performance is up there where you need it to be. Editing stories and stuff for Instagram, it copes fine with that. There's no real concerns there. If I was editing, say, a YouTube video, I might start to struggle with it or see it fall behind a bit, but it's definitely capable of all those things. And apps stay open for a reasonable amount of time. Day to day, this phone is built for getting through the day without any hiccup. It performs really well. Rightio then, let's have a look at battery life. My opinion is that the battery is average. You know, I do not like seeing these flagship phones come in with 5,000 milliamp hour batteries and barely make it through a day when you're in like full tilt mode. So that's my problem here. It was the same with the S21 Ultra. You got these 5,000 milliamp hour batteries that cannot get you through a full day in like full tilt mode. It's frustrating, it's annoying. And on top of that with Google, it takes 2 hours to charge this from start to finish. That's a long time. It charges wirelessly, great, but that's slow as well. You really would think if they're gonna like skimp out on giving you a fucking case and a charger, they would at least give you the option to charge it quickly, but they don't. Now the first 50% of your phone charges in 30 minutes. 50%, 30 minutes. Then it's an hour and a half for the second 50%. What's that shit? I mean, I don't put my phone on charge at 30%. I'm more inclined to put it on charge at 50%, top me up to 100, head out for the night. So I think Google missed the mark there. Anyway, am I going to stick with this, or am I going back to my S21 Ultra, or am I going to iPhone? Well, I shit you not, I am not going to the iPhone. And I'm definitely not going to go back to the S21 Ultra either. I've got my whole world synced up in this little Android or Google environment, which I am really enjoying. It is quite seamless and I'm having a lot of fun with it. So I will be keeping it. Now, what do I want from my phone? I want a simple, fluid and seamless experience. I get that from the Google Pixel 6 Pro. I really appreciate you all watching this video. Hopefully it's enough to help you either buy or not buy it, whichever decision you make. Links down below to some other random products because Amazon doesn't have Pixel phones on there. Thank you for watching. I love your support and your appreciation, and I will catch you in the next video. Check it. Robocop, Robocop. Beep, 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 beep.